This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 3 of our series, Systems Thinking, See the Big Picture. In this episode, titled Stocks and Flows, Understand Accumulation and Delay, we'll explore the fundamental concepts of stocks and flows that shape how systems operate. Get ready to uncover how these elements influence everything from natural ecosystems to our daily lives. Let's dive in. A tiny change in birth rates today can reshape a country's politics 50 years from now. In this episode, we drop into 3 moments: a CEO slashing prices, a city stuck in traffic, and a climate summit. Each leader acts fast, yet the results barely budge. Why? In each of those moments, leaders are wrestling with the same hidden structure: the gap between what they do and when the world responds. They push hard on decisions that change flows: more discounts, new bus lanes, tougher emission rules. But the stubborn behavior comes from stocks quietly accumulating in the background. Think of restaurant reservations. Your booking system, flow, can change in a day, but the reputation that keeps people coming back, stock, is built over months of meals and reviews. In real systems, money, people, vehicles, and carbon build up or drain away at their own pace, often far slower than our expectations or political cycles. When we confuse quick flows with slow-moving stocks, we overreact, underreact, or give up too soon, then chase the next fix when results still lag behind our efforts. Now zoom in closer. Behind those stuck results are quiet accounts filling and draining all the time. Cash buffers in a startup, trust in a community, skill in a workforce, carbon in the atmosphere. We touch them indirectly through hiring plans, marketing pushes, training programs, budget cuts, or new regulations, then grow impatient when the scoreboard barely moves. The twist is that these underlying quantities don't respond on our schedule. They respond on theirs, shaped by habits, contracts, infrastructure, and norms that were set long before we arrived and will outlast any single campaign. Think of 2 kinds of numbers that quietly govern every system you care about: how much is there right now, and how fast is it changing? We usually obsess over the second: monthly sales, weekly signups, daily cases, because they move fast enough to feel exciting. Yet it's the first, the underlying accumulation, that actually shapes what's possible. You can see this split everywhere once you start looking. In a school, the yearly intake of students is a flow. The total number of experienced teachers is a stock. You can open a new intake next term. You can't conjure a decade of classroom wisdom overnight. In a hospital, today's admissions are a flow. The queue for surgery is a stock. Even if admissions drop this week, the waiting list can still grow for months before it finally peaks and falls. Here's the trap. We read a flat or worsening stock as nothing is changing, and then either double down or abandon the policy. But the real story sits one level down, in the flows. A falling inflow or a rising outflow can mean the system has already turned the corner long before the headline number shows it. This is where delays enter. Some are physical: cargo on a ship, patients moving through diagnostic tests, graduates entering the labor market years after enrollment decisions. Others are informational: quarterly reports, outdated dashboards, polling data that reflects last month's mood. Then there are decision delays: committees that meet once a quarter, budget cycles that lock in spending long after the context has shifted. These layers of lag interact with human impatience. Cut a budget, don't see immediate savings, cut more. Tighten hiring, don't see headcount fall right away, freeze more roles. Each extra twist can overshoot what was actually needed because the stock keeps drifting in the old direction for a while. A software team provides a stark example. Bug reports per week are a flow. The unresolved bug backlog is a stock. Shift developers to a new feature, and the flow of fixes drops instantly, but the backlog continues to rise for weeks, powered by earlier reports. Leaders who only watch the backlog graph may miss the moment when the fixing capacity quietly fell below the rate of new bugs. Your challenge this week: pick one system you touch, your team, a project, your personal finances, and separate its how much right now from its how fast it's changing. For 7 days, track only the flows, not the totals. Then, on day 8, look at the stock again and see if the story you tell yourself about nothing changing has shifted. Consider a home kitchen. The number of meals you can cook this week doesn't mainly depend on tonight's grocery run. It depends on the deeper stock of what's already in your pantry and freezer, plus your cooking skills. A single YouTube recipe, flow of knowledge, won't instantly make you a confident chef, but dozens over a year quietly accumulate into technique, instincts, and a mental library of substitutions. That's why two people following the same recipe get such different results. They're drawing from very different underlying stocks. In personal finance, the same pattern hides in plain sight. Your monthly salary and expenses are flows. Your financial resilience lives in slower-moving stocks like savings, debt, and employable skills. A small, consistent surplus, or deficit, can reshape those balances over a decade far more than any dramatic one-time bonus or expense. The trick is to notice when a minor recurring payment or a modest automatic investment is quietly tilting the long-term curve in your favor, or steadily against you. Policy feels less like flipping switches and more like steering a heavy ship. You act now, the wake shows up later. As AI, sensors, and digital twins spread, leaders will see flows almost in real time, like watching money move between bank accounts instead of waiting for a monthly statement. That visibility tempts rapid tweaks, but the art will be pacing, changing rules slowly enough that deep social, financial, and ecological reserves can adjust without snapping. Treat systems less like vending machines and more like slow cookers. You season early, then wait for flavors to deepen. When metrics stall, ask, which stock is still catching up? Look for quiet clues, subtle shifts in behavior, questions people start asking, constraints that feel looser. Those weak signals often reveal tomorrow's headline change, still forming beneath the surface. Start with this tiny habit. When you check your bank balance or investment app, say out loud, "This is a stock. What flows are filling or draining it?" And then add or subtract $1 from savings or debt based on that question. When you open a recurring bill, like your streaming or phone plan, quickly ask, "Is this a constant inflow or outflow?" And circle the amount once to mark it as a flow. Each evening when you brush your teeth, think of just one stock you care about: sleep, money, energy, relationships, and one tiny flow that changed it that day, like one extra coffee, one impulse Amazon buy, or one short walk. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!